Thank you, and welcome everybody, and thank you for taking the time to join us for our first series of webinars with Caldo for this year. It's an honor to be present and explain a little bit more about our university. As Maria Eve noted, my name is Calvin Lack, and I work at the University of Graduate Studies. I'm a graduate recruitment coordinator here, and my role is to help students who are interested in pursuing a master's degree, a master's certificate or diploma or a PhD program, and helping them navigate through the policies and admission process. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask at the bottom and we'll answer them at the end. I'll give you my email address as well so you can contact me personally. So let's get started. So welcome to the University of Calgary. For some people who may not know where Calgary is, we are located in the province of Alberta. We are the largest city in this province. We have about 1.4 million people living in our city, which makes us one of the largest cities in Canada. We are surrounded by beautiful landscapes with the Rocky Mountains to the west and the prairie grasslands to the east of us. We have a very diverse and strong economy, and many people come to Calgary to live and work. Our city is very affordable compared to other big cities in Canada, and it's one of the best places to live. And I'll show you a little slide here that Calgary was ranked the fifth most livable city in the world by Global Livability Index in 2019, which makes us the #1 most livable city in Canada and the #1 most livable city in North America. So it's a great place to live, but especially it's a great place to go to school. We have a very highly educated population. We're Canada's fourth most diverse city. We are the energy capital of Canada, and we have the highest concentration of corporate head offices and small businesses per capita in Canada. We also have over 333 days of year of sunshine, so the sunniest city in Canada. You can see from the picture there, that's the city landscape, and in the back is the Rocky Mountains, where Banff National Park is located. It's the oldest national park in Canada, and it's only an hour and a half away from our campus. A lot of students, when they're not studying on the weekends, will rent a snowboard or maybe rent some camping gear and go out there for the weekend. It's a great place to escape, great place to relax, and it's so close to our city that a lot of people come. And if you do come and visit, I highly recommend Banff as a place to visit. So a little bit about the University of Calgary. We are members of the U15 Research Intensive Universities in Canada. We have about 30,000 students, 24,000 undergrads, and over 6,000 graduate students. I think our number is about 6,800 now. We have a campus. Our campus is 526 park-like acres, making it unique and different from other schools. We're the sixth most research-intensive university in Canada, which means our degrees are internationally recognized. 91% of our graduates find employment within 6 months after graduation, and we offer a wide range of programs and offices to support students. So by joining the University of Calgary, you are part of our success. We invest in student development to help prepare you for your future. We have an exceptional International Student Association center here that does a lot of work with international students to help them get familiar with the campus, helps them get familiar with the city. They organize a lot of shopping trips to malls. They organize bowling nights, movie nights, trips to Banff. So it's a great way for students to get familiar with other students on campus, to meet new people, to get involved in the campus community, and to explore the city. We have a very open and friendly campus. We do have our own campus security that responds very quickly. They help students in many different situations. If you're studying late at night and you need someone to walk you to your car or walk you to the bus station, our campus security team is there. We have different residences for students as well. and your health and safety is one of our priorities. As a full-time student, you're enrolled into our health and dental plan. You're part of Alberta Health, which gives you access to hospitals and doctors. In addition, you pay into the GSA, the Graduate Student Association health and dental plan, which covers you for prescription medicine, chiropractor visits, dentists, doctors. So you're very well covered at the University of Calgary. There's a lot of different volunteer activities at the University of Calgary. We have hundreds of student clubs ranging from dancing to camping to skiing to board games. So if there's something that you're interested in, chances are we have a club for that. It's a great way to meet new people and a great way to get yourself involved. At the University of Calgary, we have 14 faculties. We have the Faculty of Arts, we have a Working School of Education, Environmental Design, Graduate Studies, Haskins School of Business, Kinesiology, Law, Cummings School of Medicine, Nursing, Nursing Qatar, School of Engineering, Science, Social Work, and Veterinary Medicine. These four faculties offer over 140 types of master's, PhD, graduate certificate, and diploma programs. At the University of Calgary, we also have something called My Grad Skills, which is a free service to all our graduate students. They put on resources, workshops for students. For example, as a graduate student, you may be asked to be a teaching assistant. Some students may not have any experience teaching in front of a classroom setting, so they put on free workshops for that. They put on workshops on writing, on how to get along with their supervisor. So these are all free services available to our graduate students. One thing that's very unique to the University of Calgary is our paid internship. This is an opportunity for students in a master's or PhD program to get valuable work experience in their second year of their master's or their third or fourth year of their PhD program. So you as a full-time student can get internship co-op experience at a company. It could be a for-profit, non-for-profit. You can work there for 1 month up to 6 months. We still have funding to provide students to participate in these internships. Often the companies will pay you to be part of the internship. And a lot of students who have taken part in these internships have been offered full-time jobs. So if you're looking at a way to build a career, build a life in Calgary, our My Grad Skills internship program is a great opportunity for our students. We have some very exceptional facilities at the University of Calgary. We have a Taylor Family Digital Library, which is our main library at the University of Calgary. This is the most technological advanced library in North America, and it supports a wide range of services, both traditional and digital. We also have the Human Performance Laboratory, which is a leader in both basic and applied research related to human neuromuscular skeletal health and well-being from birth to advanced age. A lot of well-known sporting good companies like Adidas, Nike, Under Armour contact our professors in the Human Performance Laboratory when they want to research a new type of running shoe, for example, or a new type of sporting gear. So if you're into kinesiology, biomedical engineering, University of Calgary is one of the leading schools for that type of research. We also have our Hunter Hubs new collision space, which is dedicated to the university campus where students, faculty, and staff can gain and share knowledge, build networks, and turn ideas into practical solutions that can benefit society. So this space is devoted to seeding creativity, increasing entrepreneurial thinking on campus, and serving as a bridge to startup innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystems that are in both Calgary and in Canada. If you are an entrepreneur at heart, they provide a lot of workshops and resources to help you try to get your idea and turn it into a viable business. They invite a lot of industry leaders to give presentations to help students sort of know how to run a business, how to get financing, what are the challenges of running a business. So if you're that type of person who wants to be an entrepreneur, who has a business idea, who wants to start a service, we have that resource to support that for you. And also, we have a designated graduate resident. It has 394 graduate uh, rooms in 1 or 2 bedroom apartments. It's located on campus, and this is solely dedicated for graduate students. You can choose to live on campus, or you can choose to live just off campus. There are many different apartments, shared housing that you can rent. And as a University of Calgary student, you pay into a UPass, which is a bus pass, train pass that allows you to ride the bus and train as often as you want. So those are some of the things about the University of Calgary. So are you ready for graduate studies at the University of Calgary? So students coming from Latin America have specific requirements. These are just the minimum requirements set up by the Faculty of Graduate Studies. Some programs may have higher requirements than what is outlined on this table here. So it's best to check the program website to see what the requirement is. So you can see if you're from Brazil, if you're going into a master's, we'll base your admission on your bachelor's degree, and you need a 7 out of 10 for your grade point, and it goes all the way down to Uruguay. So English language proficiency is a requirement for students who have a degree outside of Canada. The most common ways students satisfy the English language requirement is either through TOEFL or IELTS. With TOEFL, the minimum score is 86 on the internet-based test with no section less than 20. And for IELTS, it's 6.5 with no section less than 6. Again, these are just a minimum. Some programs have higher requirements. For example, if you're going into a graduate program in medicine, they might ask for an IELTS of 7 or 7.5. So it's best to check the program so that you know exactly what you need to get into their program. Some programs may require a GRE or a GMAT. Not every program does. So the programs that require a GRE is just computer science, clinical psychology, physics and astronomy, psychology for master's students only. And if you're going into an MBA, you do need the GMAT. So those are the only programs that require additional testing. So if you want to see a complete list of all our graduate programs, you can visit grad.ucalgary.ca. The best way to learn about a program and its requirement is to contact the program directly. You have to review the research areas professors in that program and make a list of professors you would like to work with, and make contact with the professors you would like to supervise your research. If you're applying to a research-based master's or doctoral program, you might have to identify a prospective supervisor prior to applying for admission. It's best to check with the graduate program you're applying to find out if this is expected. Most programs will have this information on their program page. For students coming from Latin America, if you're applying with funding from your government, please let me know. My job is to help students with funding from their home countries to connect with professors. I know it's a challenge for a lot of students to email professors, to get a response from professors, and that's where I come in. If you let me know that you're, for example, applying in Mexico with CONITY funding, then I can sort of make the introduction to a professor. We've had very high success with that, with getting supervisors and students connected that way. So if you're having troubles, send me email. I can definitely help connect with professors. At the University of Calgary, we also make it easier for students to to find out which professors are seeking students. So if you visit the program page that you're interested in from the link in the previous slides, grad.ucalgary.ca, and you click on a program, for example, this is from Chemical and Petroleum Engineering, you'll see a list of all the professors who are actively seeking students from that program. You can see what their research area is. If you click on their name, for example, it'll bring you their profile. It'll tell you a little bit more about what they're working on. It might have a link to their research website and then a way you can contact them as well. So we make it easier for students to find which professors are seeking students and connect them that way. So reaching out to a potential supervisor, do your research. Start by viewing the profiles online and reading a couple of their publications to familiarize yourself with their work. You have to be very specific. Write a brief email to them indicating your awareness of their research and how that fits with your research interests. If possible, refer to their publications. In the same email, let them know what your intentions are, that you're applying to the graduate program, and express your interest in working with them. Show that you're serious and well qualified. Wait before following up. Faculty members are very busy. It's not uncommon to go a week without hearing back from a potential supervisor. If you don't hear back in a week, send me an email. I can try to follow up with them. And then in your email, finally ask if it's okay to refer to them as a prospective supervisor in your application. If you're applying for scholarships from your home country, definitely indicate that in your email. A lot of professors here are seeking students with their own funding. So you might get a faster response if you're saying that you're applying with funding from your home country. So the application process at the University of Calgary, you have to create an EID, which is a username. Once you have that, you can log into your application. The application is $145 for international students. When you go through your application, each program has program-specific questions that you need to answer. You'll also list your references. Some programs might ask for 2 or 3 references. You need to provide their email address, as once you submit your application, your references will get an email to a link where they can click on and fill out a reference form for you. And then when you submit your application, within 24 hours, you'll get a student ID number and instructions on how to upload supporting documents, such as your CV, if it's required by the program, your transcripts for the program to evaluate, research statement, if it's required, those types of things. And once your documents are all uploaded and complete, then the program can begin evaluating your application. Some of the required documents from programs, not all programs will require these documents. So check the program that you're interested in so that when you're ready to apply, you have everything ready. Some programs want a CV. Of course, you'll need to have your transcripts and degree certificates in the original language and English translation. You should have your IELTS or TOEFL score ready, your statement of research interest, depends on the program, your name and email addresses of your references, and some programs might have additional requirements, such as writing samples for some of the arts programs. If you're applying to architecture, they want a portfolio of your work, for example. So check the program to see what they require in addition to what's listed here. So the application review process, each program has their own evaluation committee and procedures. So if you're applying to the master's program in chemical and petroleum engineering, that program is going to evaluate you. If you're applying to a master's program in neuroscience, that program is going to evaluate you. And the length of time depends on the program. It can be anywhere from 1 month up to 3 months after the application date before you hear a response from a program. If you're successful, they'll send you out an admission letter. If you are applying for funding from your home country, from a government sponsorship, please let me know, because I will ask the program to evaluate your application sooner, to be able to get you an admission letter quicker so that you can apply for the funding from your home country. I know sometimes the calls for CONACYT, for maybe campus, CMPQ, depending where you are, have earlier deadlines than the program, and you need that admission letter to apply for the funding. So let me know if you are doing that, and we can sort of speed up the process of your evaluation. So some tips on some successful application to your graduate program here. Read the eligibility requirements of the program before you apply. Choose the right references. Have a strong statement of interest that is well thought out. Think about why do you want to think why do you want to go to grad school? What do you want to do with your degree? And what is it about this program that interests you? Highlight your academic and professional achievements, and have all your supporting documents ready to upload. So international students are eligible to apply for many awards administered through the University of Calgary Graduate Scholarship Office. The awards are very competitive and based on scholastic achievement, in addition to other criteria. It's important to read the eligibility requirements and follow the application instructions for each award you're applying for. So about applying for awards, you must apply for a graduate award because you're not automatically considered for awards. You may apply for awards after you submit your application and receive your student ID number. So you don't even have to be admitted into a program yet. Once you have your student ID number, you can start applying for awards. Some awards are restricted by citizenship. International students are eligible for many awards. We have an award database that you can go on and filter to see what you're eligible for. You can filter by, I'm looking at a PhD program, I'm an international student, I want to study neuroscience, and it'll list you all the awards that you can apply for. The awards range from $500 Canadian up to $50,000 Canadian. So they're very high value awards for students. It's really worth looking into when you submit your application. That being said, the University of Calgary also has many partnerships with agencies across Latin America. So with Brazil, we have partnerships with CAPES, CMPQ, in Chile, CONACYT, Colombia, Colienses, Peru, PONAPEC, Ecuador, CENACYT, Uruguay, ANI, Paraguay, BICAL, Mexico, CONACYT. So if you're from one of these countries and you're applying for their scholarship, let me know. Because we're very motivated. Our professors are very motivated in working with students with their own funding from these countries. So we do have something called a visiting student research program as well at the University of Calgary. So if you are currently a graduate student, maybe you're in a master's program, maybe if you're in a PhD program, and you want to come to Calgary to do research with one of our professors for maybe one term up to a year, we do have that in the visiting student research program. You'll be enrolled as a full-time student. You'll have access to all our facilities. You'll be able to work with a professor, and then who knows, maybe you can come back as a regular student afterwards. There's no tuition fees assessed for a visiting student. You pay very minimum general fees. So it's a great way to experience what it's like researching in Canada, doing lab work with top researchers in Calgary. If you're interested, let me know. And then we can work through the process. I'm going to go quickly through these slides here because I know we're pressed for time. But we do have programs in computer science that you can see, geology and geophysics. We have one of the largest Canadian collection of core samples, as well as access to provincial collections. Our School of Engineering is very strong. We have many different types of engineering: chemical, petroleum, civil, electrical, computer, geomatics, mechanical, biomedical, sustainable energy development, in top facilities with leading researchers in engineering. Civil engineering, for example, is one of our top engineering programs. many different specializations and area of studies within that program. Oil and gas. Calgary is the energy capital of Canada, and this is where a lot of students from around the world come to study chemical and petroleum engineering. We're top researchers in the petroleum engineering field. We have many different partnerships with countries around the world to do research in these types of fields, especially with Mexico as well in the energy sector. Our medical graduate programs, so a lot of different programs in medicine. You can see biochemistry all the way to medical science with many different specializations within the medical graduate programs. Physics and astronomy as well is a very popular program at the University of Calgary. And then arts as well. We have, it's Calgary's largest faculty with more than 50 undergraduate programs, 20 comprehensive graduate programs. It has a strong focus on experiential learning. And of course, our Haskayne School of Business, which offers programs in Masters of Business Administration, sustainable energy. So why should you study at the University of Calgary? Because, Calgary is highly ranked, recognized education leader in Canada and abroad with a global orientation. We have competitive financial conditions. Our commitment to success is part of our Eyes High strategy. We support students from the time they reach out as a prospective students all the way through graduation. We have the resources and the staff to support students, and we like nothing more than to connect students and help them succeed throughout their graduate program. So the online applications are open now. Some programs may have already closed, but so check the individual program that you're interested in. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email. Did I put it here? Yep, this is my email here, future.grad@ucalgary.ca. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. We have many students that are funded by those agencies that you saw. So if you have any questions about applying for CONACYT, for CNPq, for Collegiansis, for example, and you want to connect with a current student, let me know. Our students are very supportive in helping their country folks come to Calgary to study. So send me email. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We will be traveling to Latin America this fall with Caldo. So look out for some of the events and hope that we can meet in person. Thanks.
Thank you, Calvin. Now I would like to introduce Jasmine Smart, representative at Dalhousie University.
Will comment in the chat function. So pleased to meet all of you, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I'm so pleased to be going after Cal. He did such a wonderful job describing the process of applying, which is extremely similar at Dalhousie. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time in this webinar talking about the university and about our programs, and then I'll go over the actual process of applying a little bit more quickly, highlighting more the differences, and for anything I don't point out, you can assume it is the same. So my name is Jasmine Smart, and I'm the Recruitment, Retention, and Admissions Officer for the Faculty of Graduate Studies. Just like Cal, if anyone is applying with your own national scholarship, feel free to reach out to me and I can help you connect to a potential supervisor. Otherwise, I'll be in touch with you after the program you're applying to or might be applying to has recommended you for admission. So Dalhousie University has about 19,000 students, of which around 4,300 are graduate students. The total percent of international students is 22%, but at the graduate level, that is master's and PhD, it's closer to 35% international. We have 26 research centers and institutes, 140 different master's and PhD programs, more than 156 million of annual funded research, 91 Rhodes Scholars. And one of the things that's interesting is that we have 4 campuses in 2 cities. And for graduate studies, there's also a medical campus in St. John's, which is not listed here, and which I'm not going to be talking about a lot because it's a very small campus. And if you are involved in that particular area of medicine, you already know about it. So this is just a map pointing out the province that we are in. That's where the blue circle is. And in the backdrop is the city of Halifax. And what you see in this picture is the harbor front and our engineering campus. So some of you might not be familiar with the city of Halifax. It's one of the smaller cities, especially compared to anyone who, for example, is coming from Mexico City. The population is 425,000. It's the fastest growing city in Canada. Atlantic Canada's most multicultural city. And our Studley, which is the campus I'm on, and Carleton, which is the medical campus, are both 5 to 10 minutes walk from downtown. And the Sexton campus, that's the picture you saw one slide ago, is right downtown. So Halifax is an educational hub with 5 different universities, including Dalhousie. It's also the seat of provincial government, which is very convenient because while it's a small city, it is the biggest city in all of Atlantic Canada. And so whichever service you're looking for, it is most likely that where it is in the Maritimes is Halifax. If any of you are interested in studying a master's or PhD of agriculture, you'll be in the city of Truro. It's home to our Faculty of Agriculture. It's an adorable small city with a population of only 12,500. It's the only campus in Canada with an on-site teaching farm. If you are not studying agriculture, there's a few great opportunities like Agriculture Days and their annual Research Day when you can, Dalhousie runs free shuttle service up to the Truro campus. You can go, you can see the barns. There are generally adorable calves if you go at the right time of year. I have not yet made it, but I hear there's also lambs, which sounds pretty great. And there's a wonderful hiking trail system that connects directly to the agricultural campus and is part of a fairly broad trails network. It's, if you like a really peaceful, quiet, safe location, the agricultural campus is pretty hard to beat. And it was voted the #1 friendliest community in Canada's Atlantic provinces, which is saying something because in Canada, the Maritimes have rather a reputation for being warm, friendly people who will talk to you in the line at the grocery store, which is a little weird for me because I am not from this part of the country. One of the things, of course, that is characteristic about both the city and the university is the ocean. So it very much influences the academic strength at Dalhousie. So we're part of the Ocean Tracking Network, OCEA, which is an interdisciplinary. It includes 4 universities, a number of private institutes, business, and the government. Are all highly involved and located both Dalhousie and scattered throughout the city. There is just a ton of research in marine biology, oceanography, earth science, marine management, and marine affairs at Dalhousie. And of course, being able to drive to the ocean in about 20 minutes after work is, pleasant for lifestyle reasons. Not so much this time of year, though. So for graduate programs, we have more than 95 masters and more than 45 doctoral programs. So I'm not going to go over all of them. What I'm going to encourage you to do is go to dal.ca/grad info sheets. I'm going to show you a screenshot of what you'll see there. Basically, you'll fill in a little bit of information. We will only send you one email. I promise you're not going to get spam forever. And if you choose the program you're interested in, we'll just download for you. You'll be able to click on it right away, and then you'll also get it in that one email I mentioned. Just a little two-sheet info sheet about each program, and then another one about the process of applying. So later in this presentation, I'm going to repeat a little bit about how to apply. It's all pretty much the same as what Cal did such a great job going over, but you also do not need to memorize it. Just go download the How to Apply or go to our website and everything's listed there. So hopefully you'll have a look at our graduate programs. I'm happy to talk about them at more length if anyone has any questions. But we are a comprehensive university with very strong medical faculties, particularly in imaging and cancer research. Wonderful computer science with a special area of strength in data science and artificial intelligence. Comprehensive engineering faculties, and really particular interest, as I mentioned, in the oceans and also in energy and sustainability. Some of the programs that you might not have considered are international development studies, Masters of Marine Management, interdisciplinary PhD, but please have a look at the full list. 95 masters and 45 PhDs is a lot, so I promise I'm not going to just read them all off to you. So if you find a program that you're interested in, as Cal mentioned, a great place to start is looking at faculty. So have a look at the program you're interested in. Each one will list all of the faculty members. You'll be able to search by areas of research, and on the profile for each faculty member, you'll be able to see not only their areas of research, but also their publications. So have a look at the faculties you're considering, look at the faculty members, and see exactly what research they're doing. Assuming you find someone whose research you're really excited about, then your next step is to just apply online. So here's the link for where to apply. You're also going to send all of your supporting documents to the department to which you're applying. You pay an application fee, and then you look for a supervisor. So as I mentioned, if you already have funding from your own national scholarship, you can get in touch with me directly or through Caldo, and we can help you find a supervisor. Otherwise, you've already done some research. You found the supervisor or supervisors you're interested in working with. Then everything Cal said is great. Read a couple of their publications. Make sure that they're indeed someone you want to work with, that you enjoy their writing style, that their research is exciting to you. Then write a very targeted email. You don't want to just say, "Hi, I want to study. Will you support me?" Like, that doesn't give them enough information to make a decision. What you want to tell them is what kind of research you want to do and what kind of research you've already done. So that can be pretty quick. You don't need to send them your full prospectus, just a couple of sentences. And then tell them why you think they'd be a good supervisor for them. Tell them what it is about their research that would support your work. And of course, as Cal mentioned, if you're bringing your own funding, that's great. Supervisors like to see that you've already been successful in a competitive scholarship, because that shows, we're not always familiar. Well, eventually you'll get to me, and I am familiar, but not every single faculty member is familiar with the way grades work in each country. So for them to see that the national scholarship of your own country selected you out of a competitive pool shows them that you're a strong student and that you almost certainly meet all of our own admission requirements. So it makes things really simple for supervisors. But yeah, keep it like really simple. All you're saying is, hi, this is what I'd like to research. This is the specific thing about your research that I'm really excited about, that would support my work, that would be a great fit for what I'm trying to do. If you have funding, tell them that. If you're considering applying for some of Dalhousie's own internal funding or for other scholarships you haven't received yet, tell them that as well. And then just say, are you interested in being my supervisor, or can I list you as a prospective supervisor on my application? That's it. It's a pretty quick email. If you go to our website, we have a little bit more information walking you through the process, but please do put it in your own words. There's no perfect format to do this. Just tell them exactly what you'd like to do, what it is about them that makes you want to work with them, and wrap it up quickly. So once you've heard from a supervisor that they'd like to work with you, your application will either have gone forward to the department or it'll at that point go to the department. So different departments do admissions in different ways. Some of them have rolling admissions, so as applications arrive, they'll accept them. Others have 1 or 2 deadlines. They take all the applications, and at that deadline, they'll choose the students they want to go forward. A few have combined processes. For example, anyone applying to computer science, every month they look at the pool of applicants and also at anyone who was waitlisted from a previous month but who didn't make the cut that time. So you have a few chances, and you'll hear from them approximately once a month, depending on when the admissions committee meets. Admissions committees are in general made up of the faculty members most involved in supervising graduate students. So often, if you've reached out to a supervisor, they'll join the admissions review committee. So assuming that you're recommended for admission by the program, your file then comes up to me, and then I just check to make sure that everything about your application meets the university requirements. So you'll need to send in your supporting documents. That's original transcripts. So these will be original transcripts issued by the university, sealed into an envelope, sent to the department you're applying to. So, you would send that to political science. You wouldn't send that to the university in general, because then it takes a little longer to get to the right place. And please make sure that your name on your transcript is your full legal name or matches the name in your passport. So for reference letters, again, as Cal mentioned, the key isn't just get a reference, it's to get a good reference. So talk to your referees. Obviously, they're not going to tell you what they're going to say about you, but you can ask them if they'll offer you a good reference and if they'll be able to speak to things like your research, your classwork, your potential. Some programs may ask for the GRE or the GMAT or the LSAT. For the LSAT, it's really only if you want to do your master's and PhD of law. English as a second language will be required. So the most common tests we see are IELTS, for which we require a 92, or the TOEFL, which we require a 7. Please be aware some programs will also have higher requirements. And as I've been mentioning, not every program requires each of these supporting documents. So please have a look at the program you're planning to apply for. Another option is if you want to do your ESL at Dalhousie, you can come to Dalhousie and you can take English for academic purposes. You'll need to take level 2 and have a grade of at least A minus. If you're applying to a professional program, they're likely looking for your resume or CV. If you're applying for a program in the arts, they're probably looking for a writing sample. And most programs are looking for a statement of intent. The right format for statement of intent varies a little bit depending on if you're going into professional, the sciences, or the arts. You can ask the department you're applying for guidance, or honestly, if you Google advice statement or statement of intent, and then, for instance, you're going into English literature, you'll get some really good information just out of Google. So when you get your decision, your department might contact you to let you know they're recommending you for admission. That does not mean you're admitted yet. That's still subject to making sure that everything is correct with your file. When you get your official notification, it'll be with the email address that you put on your application. So make sure you're checking that email address, and you'll receive your official admission letter directly to that email address. So please have a look at dal.ca/graduate to look at our scholarships. There's a wide variety of scholarships, so take a couple hours, make yourself a really big cup of coffee or tea, and have a look, because there are a ton of scholarships, and there's a really wide variety both of disciplines and also of things like leadership ability, representation of an underrepresented group, and all kinds of other things. Some scholarships I'm going to direct you to in particular, because they're unique to us, are the Nova Scotia Research and Innovation Scholarship. That's a great scholarship. There's a ton of them. If you belong to one of their priority areas, you have a really good chance of receiving it, and it's a 10,000 Canadian dollar award, which is a really nice top-up. Another thing to look at is we're one of 5 Killam institutions, and one of the only ones that has a Killam Master Scholarship. So the Killam Awards are very well known in Canada. They're very prestigious, and they will fully cover your studies, probably. Of course, if you have like a huge family and want to live in luxury, I'm not guaranteeing that they're covering all your living expenses, but in general, they will. So have a look at the Killam Awards, at the Nova Scotia Research Scholarship, and take the time, sit down, look at all of the other scholarships. We are also part of Caldo and have agreements with most of the South and Central American national scholarships. If you have any questions about a particular scholarship, you can have a look at the Caldo website or get in touch with me, but you're pretty safe to assume that we do have an agreement with them. And of course, bringing your own funding is a huge advantage for finding a supervisor, because then they already know that you've been vetted and that you're bringing your own independent research funding, which is always a great thing. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions, and if you already have confirmed national scholarship, reach out and I can help you connect to a supervisor. I hope I see you in Halifax, and I'm going to open things up to questions now. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jasmine. So now it's time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, either general or specific, you can please write them down in the chat. Calvin and Jasmine will answer them for you.
So I see Maria has indicated she's interested in a PhD in material science.
Oh, okay. So we don't have a particular program in material science. That might be sort of a research area within one of our um, programs, but I can't, I don't know offhand which one that would fall into. If you want to send me an email or Jasmine an email as well, we can look into which program or which professor at our university or at Dalhousie is doing research in material science, and we will get back to you that way. But that's I'm sorry, I don't know offhand uh, which graduate program that falls in Calgary, but maybe Jasmine might know. I see another question here. Do universities offer any opportunities for RA, which is a research assistant, or TA, which is a teaching assistant? I don't know how things work at other Calder universities, but at the University of Calgary, there are opportunities for graduate students to participate in being a research assistant or a teaching assistant. Each program handles it differently. Um, some programs might just offer it to students, whereas other programs will ask you to apply for it. You'll be a teaching assistant for a year or for a term. Research assistant will be a part of your supervisor, and maybe he or she will be paying you to work in their lab on a project they're working on. But there are many opportunities here, and I'm sure at other Calder universities to participate in being a RA or a TA. I see a question here. In Dell, is GRE required for a computer science PhD program? Jasmine, if you want to take that one, that'll be great. Okay, I'll wait till if Jasmine chimes in, that's great. I see another question. Do transcripts need to be certified by a specific entity or organization? No, they don't. Your transcripts need to be certified by a certified translator. So normally, when you go to a translating service, they'll be able to stamp the translation saying that they're certified. It doesn't have to be any specific entity or organization. As long as they are certified, we're content with that. A lot of times, your university might even provide transcripts in English. If they don't, that's when we ask to have it done by a certified translator. Okay, someone here is asking, can you explain your program on health promotion? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you talking about health and wellness? Are you talking about dental medical plan? If you could clarify, I can go into that a bit more. So someone asks, what do you have in ELT? I'm guessing it's an English language training. I know Dell has one. The University of Calgary has one as well through our English language as a second language program. So if you send me an email, I can provide you a link for that. Someone here asked, any PhD in architecture, environmental science? So at the University of Calgary, we do have a architectural program through our School of Architecture, Planning, and Landscape. We offer PhDs in architecture, Master of Architecture program, environmental design at the Master and PhD level, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Planning. So many different types of architectural type programs at the University of Calgary. It's actually one of our research focuses is building smart cities. So if you're looking at architecture, environmental sciences, please send me an email. I'll be more than happy to send you some information on that. Can you guys hear Jasmine at all, or can you guys hear me? I'm not sure if I'm answering questions, if you're able to hear me. Okay, good. I can hear. I can see. Can you guys hear Jasmine? Because is Jasmine speaking as well? I don't want to be. I don't want to be taking all the questions without giving her opportunity to speak. Because I
Hi,
can't
can people hear me?
Right, Jasmine? Okay, I can't hear Jasmine, so I don't want to take up all the time to speak. But if Jasmine, if you can speak up, that'd be great. I'm going to roll back here to see if I missed any questions. Next one, do you have a program in psychology?
Hi, I see a question from Marlo about whether you can apply to a master's program before having a TOEFL score. And the answer is yes. Programs can offer you a conditional admission. So your admission will say, yes, you're admitted as long as you receive an acceptable TOEFL score.
Okay, someone asked, do you have an MBA? Yes, we both have MBA programs at the University of Calgary and Dalhousie.
A question from Thiago is about a PhD in architecture or environmental science. And I'm going to leave that one to Cal because we don't have either of those. For us, it would just be the interdisciplinary PhD. I see a question from Maria asking about the program in health promotion. So that's a program in our Faculty of Health, and it's about public health. There's a number of different concentrations or focuses you can take. It's a thesis-based program, so you can tailor it to your own interests. But in general, it's for people looking at promoting public health through government, through nonprofits or NGOs, through work on policy or work directly in healthcare. And the standard profile of a student going into that program is someone with a background in, well, really any of the health fields. I see the question from Jason, who is asking about IELTS tests. And yes, you can submit a lower score, tell the program that you're working on bringing your score up, and they can offer you a conditional admission.
Okay, so I see a question from...
Okay, I see the message from Eric.
Go ahead.
So for biology, we have a very strong biology program with a particular specialty in marine biology. I certainly recommend that you have a look at our website and also have a look at our scholarships. So there are a number of scholarships available to international students, but there's a lot of factors that go into determining who's eligible, from your grades to where you're coming from to your area of research. So please have a look at our scholarship page and have a look at what you can apply to.
I see a question about thesis-based and course-based programs.
I see a message from Magali about how many times in the year is the admission process. So our most common start time is in September. There are also some programs that will start in January or May. So it will depend on the program you're applying for. I see the question from Jose about tuition. So yes, if you have your own national scholarship, Most of those agreements say that we will charge domestic tuition for anyone who's applying as a PhD student. Everyone, international or Canadian, pays domestic tuition for the PhD. IBT TOEFL is perfect. I have not seen a paper-based TOEFL in a very long time. The important thing to note is that you'll need the academic TOEFL.
So I'm not sure if you can hear me or if you're hearing Jasmine at the moment, because it does look like if one of us speaks, then the other person gets canceled. So I'm going to speak. If you can hear me, that's great. Someone asked, I can see that the thesis-based and course-based programs, can we get the same benefits for both, or scholarships are just for thesis-based? So there are more, that's a great question. There are more scholarship for thesis-based programs. Because we are a research institution, a lot of the funding and scholarships are for thesis-based programs, unfortunately. That being said, I know if you're from Mexico, Conestate sponsors thesis-based programs, but most of the scholarships are for thesis-based. Someone asks, are there programs like scholarships to study English? That's a good question. Most universities don't provide scholarships to study English. You can ask your home country to see or research if there are any programs that allow you to study English here and get a scholarship. But typically, you won't find that kind of scholarship to support your English studies to get you into a graduate program. And then I'll give Jasmine a chance to speak now if there's any questions that she wants to answer, and I'll look through to see if I missed anything. I'm scrolling up and someone asked, which TOEFL should we have, IBT or TOEFL? I think they're phasing out the paper-based test, so it's more now the internet-based test, TOEFL, that universities will be accepting. This is a great question. Do Calgary or Dal have any programs with enterprises to make it easy studies to work transition once program is ended? I'm focused on molecular biology, biochemistry. So at the University of Calgary, as I mentioned, we have that transformative internship program for students in a master's PhD to get that work experience and then hopefully get a job with the company that they intern at. We also have a career services on campus that helps students write a resume. They put on career fairs twice a year, and they invite industry, different types of businesses on campus for students to get an idea of what they can apply to in terms of jobs. They put on different workshops. So there's a lot of support for students after they graduate to help them transition or help them sort of look for jobs. So I don't know how to switch it back so that Jasmine can speak, but Jasmine, if you want to take over as well, please come on. I'm sorry if I missed anybody's questions. They've been coming pretty fast. So if there is a question that I miss or if Jasmine misses, if you want to type it in again or just copy and paste it in again, we'll try to get to that. So I do apologize.
Thanks, Cal.
Yeah. Oh, someone was speaking? Marie?
Yeah, thanks, Cal. I will answer a couple questions and then type that I'm passing things back to you, I guess. So I see messages from a few people who are looking for a letter of acceptance in order to apply for their national scholarship. As you may have seen in the chat, a week is not a lot of time. So I'd recommend you get in touch with Cal or myself right away if that's your situation. And also tonight, right now, after this webinar, look at possible supervisors and email them tonight, right away. Yeah, if your deadline is the 14th of February, that's really soon. You might have to wait till next year, but we will try to push through an admission decision if at all possible. But most supervisors will want to talk to you about your research. They'll likely want to interview you over the phone or over Skype, and making those arrangements does take some time. So get in touch if you're in that situation, but also if your deadline is the 14th of February, as soon as you get off this webinar, start looking up faculty members and send the email to your top faculty member. I also see an a message from Jason talking about being a mature student and already having a master's degree. So certainly that is not a disadvantage when it comes to the university application process. So depending on where in Europe you studied, if it was a country where one of the national languages is English and the university you studied at was taught in English, that's great because that means you don't have to provide an ESL test score. we do take into account the various educational systems when we do our own grade point average calculations. That said, none of us have the power to tell any of the scholarship funding bodies how to calculate theirs. So the way that either your national scholarship or Canadian scholarships will choose to award degrees will be up to that particular agency, and unfortunately is not something I can influence.
Yes, I think Caldo will be putting the presentations up on their YouTube channel for anyone that wants to rewatch the presentations. We also have our emails with the presentation. So if you do have any questions that you think of afterwards, please send either Jasmine or myself email, and we'll get back to you very quickly. Oh, someone asked, Cal, for Panama, are there any institutional authorized? If you're talking about sponsorship agencies, I think Caldo is in the process, or they might have signed an agreement with a funding agency in Panama. If Maria E wants to confirm, that'll be good.
Hi, Calvin. Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is Maria. So, just to confirm, anyone from Panama, because Senasi has just opened last Monday, their scholarship calls for master's and PhD in specific areas. So, if you guys are interested in learning more about this, all information is on our website, and we have also promoted it on our social media. But they are open. So if you guys are interested in giving that a look, I welcome to do so. I'll actually put the link in the chat for anyone to consult.
Thank you. And Kevin asked, are there other ways to pay the studies here? Are there any Canadian scholarships to international students? Do I need to apply inside the university? Yeah, there are many different scholarships for international students. At the University of Calgary, for example, our programs offer guaranteed funding to students. So if you are accepted into a master's or PhD program, there's a minimum amount that the program or the supervisor must give you to study. It's enough to cover your tuition, but it's not enough to cover your living expenses. And that's where you can apply for many different awards. Check our awards database. It'll list what awards there are, what the value is, when the application deadline is. Again, getting these types of awards is very competitive. That's why we're recommending to students to come with their own funding, as you'll get you'll get a better response from program supervisors. But there are many different scholarships for international students here at Dalhousie, and I'm sure at other Caldo member universities. Okay, Jasmine, if you want to take it again, back to.
Thanks, Cal. I'm going to answer a couple questions and then pass it back to you. So I see the question from Nimer. For our business programs, for the corporate MBA, yes, you do require one of those exams. For the MSc in business, you do not. For the MBA in leadership, you do not require the GMAT or the GRE, but you do require experience between 5 and 10 years. And for the MBA in financial services, you need normally 10 years of experience in finance. And the IELTS requirement is a 7 and higher for the corporate MBA. At Eric, I sent you the email address for Sophia Stone. She's the faculty member who's the graduate coordinator for biology. I also see more questions from Jason, who's looking for GIS. So my recommendation there would be have a look at Earth Sciences, or have a look at the Masters of Resource and Environmental Management, or have a look at the Masters of Environmental Studies. So the Masters of Environmental Studies is a thesis-based program, and they have a number of faculty members who work in GIS. So certainly as your thesis, you could choose to work in GIS. For the MREM, that's the Master of Resource and Environmental Management. That's a course and internship-based program. They also have GIS offerings. And another option would be, depending on your background, looking at the master's or PhD in environmental engineering at the interdisciplinary PhD. And looking at how to get older references. That can be a challenge. If you've been out of university for 10 years or more, we can accept both of your references as professional. If you've been out for more than 5 years, we can accept one professional and one academic. And I actually applied to graduate studies myself more than 10 years after my undergrad, and was pleasantly surprised that former professors were willing to write me reference letters, but did want things from me like copies of my papers from their tests. So it is worthwhile reaching out to former professors, even if they're not necessarily in the field anymore. I also see a number of questions about scholarships. There are many scholarships. Many of them are available to international students, but the criteria for each scholarship is unique. So I can't make any general statements about what you'll be eligible for. It'll depend on your grades, on your background. So please have a look at the website.
This is Maria from Caldo. Jonathan just asked if there's any scholarship for master's programs for Peruvians. Pronabec will be opening a scholarship calls for both master's and PhD programs in end of March to beginning of April. So obviously more information will be shared around that time, but there will be scholarships called. So please be on the lookout for that. And I've also shared the links of current open scholarship calls for both Panama, CENACYT, CONACYT Mexico, and the upcoming one that's going to come from ANIT, formerly CONICYT in Chile, for their scholarship call for PhD programs abroad.
So I believe we are about at the end of our session. So thank you everybody who took the time to listen to our presentations, and thank you for those who have written down their questions. They're very insightful, and I'm sure it's a lot of questions that other students probably have as well. Please send Jasmine or myself an email. Please send Caldo an email if you have any further inquiries about the scholarships available in your home countries or programs about Calgary or Dalhousie. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I hope to see you guys when we visit your country, hopefully this fall.